Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. On the agenda tonight, we have Buddy Guy, and Buddy's going to be performing Sweet Home Chicago, which was originally a track by Robert Johnson way back in the day. So we're going to have a little look. The quality isn't amazing because obviously I think this is around the 90s kind of time, so it was recorded on tape, so it's not going to be amazing quality, but let's check out Buddy and see how he's getting on.
You all right?
And there we go, what a great intro to the track that was. And the great thing about Buddy's playing is that sometimes he'll just cut off a particular passage where you're not expecting it to suddenly stop, and he just makes you think. And Buddy's way of playing, influenced so many great guitarists. You got Clapton and Beck and Stevie Ray Vaughan as well, and the list is pretty much endless in terms of the people that he influenced, or the players that he influenced, that actually looked at his playing style, looked at the way that he was playing the blues, and took that and then manipulated that style into their own way of playing. Certainly Clapton said that Buddy Guy was one of those players who had his own sound, even if it was just mixed in exactly the same way as all the other rhythm guitars on the track. You'd know which part was Buddy just because of the way that he played, and that's always the holy grail for every guitarist, to have their own sound. And certainly when Buddy played, he did have his own sound. He'd just do things that were just unpredictable and just kept you on your toes, as well as just being an amazing blues player as well. His bending to pitch as well, absolutely spot on, and the way that he expresses the bends. Control of vibrato, as I always mention, Buddy's got that vibrato going on, and when someone can play with vibrato, when they then don't vibrato, it gives it a totally different sound because it's cutting away from the norm. Last night I did a video on B.B. King, another one of the absolute legends of blues guitar, blues playing. But Buddy is the same kind of player in the way that he's a natural entertainer. He talks to the crowd the whole time. The crowd are 100% involved in what he's doing. And if they're not, he will try and get them involved and get them to interact with him. And he loves that little communication with the crowd. Some players, you get the impression that they love to play the music, but then they feel a little bit awkward when actually dealing with a big group of people to actually communicate with that many people at once. Whereas Buddy and BB yesterday, they've just got this natural likability, and they're just natural showmen. People are already into the performance before they even strike a chord or sing their first note. People like Buddy and BB had that ability to just level the playing field and just be one of the audience while they're playing, and it's just like playing to a lot of friends. You always hear artists saying, "Oh, I'm so nervous," or what am I going to do on stage? I hope I don't lose my voice, and I hope I don't break a string. And they are so worried about going and playing in front of people. But Buddy is one of those guys that once there's a big crowd there, I imagine the people backstage are holding him back because he can't wait to get out there and perform and do his thing and really show off what he's been working on and show off all of his playing ability and his singing ability and just the whole music thing. It's just a feel-good thing for him. He's having such a great time. It's one of those things that just communicates to the audience so that you're having a great time watching him, because you can tell that he's not nervous, he's just having a blast, and he gets the audience involved. All the live gigs that I've seen, he's always talking to the audience, and he's just a really laid-back, cool customer when he's playing in front of loads of people. It doesn't matter how many people he's playing in front of, he'll always treat it the same way. It's just a Buddy Guy show. But Buddy's one of those guys that really appreciates dynamics, so he can start right up there and then just bring it down a peg or two for the verse, make his vocals stand out a little bit, take that playing down, and then just take it up again if he wanted to. If he wants to melt your face, he can do that at any time, so it's just a choice as to when Buddy decides to do that. But let's have a little listen to a bit more.
Baby, don't you wanna go? Do y'all hear me? Come on. Y'all can do better than that, can't you? Going to the same old place. Yeah, all right. Try it again. Come on. Baby, don't you wanna go? Come on, yes. Going to the same old place. All right, all right, all right. 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 2 is 4. I can't love if you don't open that back door. I say, hey, baby, don't you wanna go? Yeah. Going to the same old place, sweet home, Chicago. Tell me, baby, what is getting wrong with you? You don't treat me, woman, like you used to do. I say, look over yonder, woman, and down my walking cane. Well. No, you don't love me, woman, because I say, yonder come your man. Listen to me.
And there we have it, that drop in dynamics again after that face melting section of just everything turned up to 10, and Buddy's tone really overdriven as well. But what great lead work, and some of the bends that he does. you think that you're at the end of the bend, and then he'll just throw it another whole step higher sometimes. And it's such a cool sound that Buddy's got going on with his lead work. And Buddy there is just storing the pick during the solo for a little section as well, just to pick 2 strings at the same time, which I've mentioned before with other guitarists, just storing away the pick to get a different sound with the thumb and the first finger and the second finger and sometimes the third finger. So yeah, it's going to give that solo a slightly different sound and just opens up the options for making or playing even more expansive if you want to. The other thing that Buddy's got here is a designated rhythm player, which really helps to keep that sound full when Buddy then goes off into his lead playing. And that's how they can keep that dynamic so open and so full on, is that nothing's going to drop out here. Buddy's guitar lines have always got that solid foundation of great bass, drums, but also really solid rhythm playing as well. But then whenever Buddy plays something, it really cuts through because it's just higher in the mix. And playing a lead solo line is like having a voice. So this is why you'll find a lot of players don't play and sing at the same time, because if they're singing and they've got a lead line coming out, it's like your guitar's trying to sing whilst you're singing, and you'll rarely ever hear a guitarist playing a solo whilst singing a different melody to a song. If you do hear people doing that, it'll probably be a local bar somewhere, because it's not going to catch on. You've got to have your vocals coming in, telling the story, and then use your guitar as a secondary voice. That you don't want to compete with the main vocal. The most you'll ever see really is a riff and a vocal over the top. You'll never see a lead line that's always changing with a melody being sung over the top. So yeah, one of those things that these blues guys know exactly what they're doing. They're telling a story all the time with the vocal and then with their guitar. And never are those 2 instruments, though, that voice and the guitar, they're never competing for space. It's always one vocal and then another lead guitar vocal, effectively, is what it's doing. And just a great showmanship he's got as well, just that bravado on stage and being able to totally command an audience.
Come on. Going to the same old place. Wait a minute. Come on. Baby, don't you wanna go? Help me just a little bit. Going to the same old place.
There we go, and at the end, the crowd are on their feet. I'm not sure I really dig these gigs too much where the crowd is sitting down. For me, there should be a sitting down section at the back and then just loads of rows of standing at the front, because for me, you can see that everyone wants to get up and everyone wants to get into it, but they feel obliged to sit down. And certainly Buddy's one of those guys that you just want to get into his playing because he's so great at interacting with the crowd. I'd just rush the front of that stage and get into it. What a great inspiration for so many great blues guitarists. A lot of those guitarists actually ended up sharing a stage with Buddy because Buddy just gigs all the time. He just wants to play all the time and get up on stage. So these people that were listening to him and actually tried to work out what he was doing and then tried to put that into their own playing, ended up playing on the same stage because Buddy was still around, he's still going. So Buddy Guy, what a legend and what a great performance of Sweet Home Chicago here. Thanks so much for suggesting this in the first place for me to take a look at. Keep those suggestions coming in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one.